Hey everyone, back in the closet. The closet is the only place where the audio sounds halfway good where I live. So, anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about AI because I've been getting tons of comments about this. And you're probably not surprised that I do get many comments about AI because I'm always talking about it. I want to make one thing clear. I'm not against AI because of the hype. A lot of people say, well, AI is just hyped up by tech companies and we don't have anything to worry about and it's just nonsense. But the fact is, I am against AI for what it can do now. I'm not against AI for anything tech companies say it will be able to do in the future. I am against what it can do now. I think our dependence on AI and our continued dependence on even its current capabilities is a bad thing for humanity. I haven't seen any application of AI, any good application of AI that could possibly outweigh all the bad things about it. Its erosion of our mental independence, our mental capabilities, its enormous use of energy. And there's another comment I've been getting, and it's a comment that's even more important to me because I disagree with it so much. It's that AI is here to stay and that we can't do anything about it. We just have to either use it or ignore it or whatever. I think that's actually false. I think that's false. One of the reasons why I say that is that first, I have never seen with any other technology that has been introduced in my lifetime such a backlash towards AI, such a negative reaction to it. Yes, there are people who have a positive reaction towards AI. There are people who like it for whatever reason. It amuses them because it helps them in the short term because they've already lived life without AI, and now AI comes on and they can sort of balance the use of AI with whatever they've been doing before because they've had the wisdom of living life without it. That's, by the way, I think a reason why introducing AI to this society is very selfish, because the people who are introducing it have had the privilege of living life without it and the privilege of discovering things for themselves without so much technological interference. I think it's a disservice to the next generation to bring them in a world where AI is so prevalent. I think I really appreciate the fact that I could grow up without all of this technology. I cherish the moments that I had before the internet was necessary. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The point is, like I said, I don't believe AI is inevitable or the integration of AI within society is inevitable. It seems inevitable now because it's being adopted at such a rapid pace. But like I said, I have never seen such a strong backlash towards AI. And I think a lot of people genuinely really hate it. And they genuinely want it to be eradicated, but they don't know how to do that. But that's why I think it's important for anyone who doesn't like it to stand up against it, to not use it, to avoid it as much as humanly possible. Because if you do things in your life without AI, then you create a space for other individuals to enjoy the output of human creativity that was not tainted with AI. I have already said this in the posts tab. I've written about this a little bit, but I'd like to say this in video, that it's important to create that space. And if one person creates a space, when you look at my photography, you can be sure that I've not used AI denoising or AI object removal or AI on that photo in any way. When you read what I write, if you've ever read anything that I've written, you can be sure I have never used ChatGPT or any other AI tools to modify that writing or do research for that writing. All of it was written from scratch in a empty blank file. It came from my mind. You can be sure of that. And when you do things and you are vocal about not using AI, you create that space too for other people to enjoy human communication that was not modified by AI. And a lot of people think they can control how much AI they use. But every time you use a technology, it modifies the way you think, and you can't control that. And when you start to use AI, it will start to modify the way you think, make yourself more dependent on it, lessen your ability to think critically about what you're doing. And that comes off in your creative works. It comes off in your creative works I am very wary of reading anything that was produced recently. Of course, I have to read things that were produced recently, but I know people who don't use AI, and I prefer to read their writing. As far as possible, I prefer to read books that were produced before 2022 or 2023 or so, because I know those books haven't been produced with AI. You need to create that space. If you don't like AI, if you're against it, if you don't like the way things are going, you have to create that space. You have to be vocal about it, because if one person does it, it's great. If 10 people do it, then it starts to create a small community. If 100 people, if 1,000 people do it, it starts to create that community. Now, I know there are very strong economic pressures that make AI very likely to continue proceeding forward, even if thousands of people are against it. But that seed, if you sow that seed, sometimes a seed can take a long time to grow. You put a seed in the ground of a tree. It starts out as a little sapling of a tree, and it slowly grows and it grows and it grows. And sometimes ideas do take a long time to come to fruition. If you take that little step and create that space, that anti-AI space, that AI-free space, then other people will see that. They may not really affect anything in the global scale yet, but it plants that seed. It plants that seed that maybe there's something that we should be more cautious about. Maybe we should be more cautious about our energy usage. It plants that little seed. And I'm really thinking, I really have hope that there is enough anti-AI sentiment. There's enough people will get the idea that maybe AI should be something to fight against. I really do think also that in the modern world, we do need something concrete to fight against. And we have a lot of problems, but they're very diffuse problems. I can list many problems that the current world has, but we need a concrete enemy, and AI can be that concrete enemy to fight against. It can be that enemy to stand up against. I encourage everybody who believes that AI should not exist to not use AI as much as they can and to be vocal about it, because I think that does mean something. And even if stopping AI is very unlikely, I still believe when something is the right thing to do, that it's still worth doing, even if the probability of accomplishment is minuscule, because, well, we're not going to get rid of these big tech companies anytime soon. Well, we don't have to get rid of them anytime soon. We just have to start and plant that seed and hope that what we are doing will lead somewhere good. And that's pretty much all we can really do in the world anyway. So long story short, if you want to see AI gone from this planet, the only thing you can do is start where you are and stand up against AI. And that is already a step in the right direction. And if you're a photographer like me and you decide not to use any AI tools and you advertise that and you make sure your photography is clearly labeled AI free, like mine is, then I will be one person who will be much happier to view your photography than the photography of thousands of other people who are using AI. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again next time.